Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time to dive into a brand new Factorio MegaBase series. This is going to be my ultimate step-by-step guide on how to reach MegaBase status. Together we're gonna get into the nitty and gritty of this game with the goal of establishing a MegaBase of 5000 science packs per second, and afterwards, depending on the demand, we can go from there. I left everything on default, so it's the developer's intended experience we're going through here. If we have a quick look at the map generation here, what was important to me is first of all the ore patches should be separated from each other. That will give us an easier time extracting the ore. You can also see this entire left side here is covered by a body of water. Enemies can't cross it, therefore they will bottleneck somewhere else. Also, I wanted us to be protected by lots and lots of trees that will soak up the initial pollution. Apart from that, I also wanted to make sure we find some oil spots nearby. Of course in a reasonable distance, and there is also a patch of uranium that is gonna do initially. I'm gonna leave the seed in the description in case you want to play on the same map. Otherwise, all settings to default. Wonderful! After taking apart my trusty spaceship that I crash landed with and took the materials out of it, I'm gonna search for my initial ore patches. Our goal for today's episode is to just get a basic setup running that we can use as a framework to get into the first automation. In the beginning, digging up some of these rocks can be really valuable as you get some coal and also plenty of stone out of it. Stone we're gonna need for stone furnaces in order to cook up our materials. So as long as I have these convenient rocks just hanging around, I'm gonna grab them. And now without too much effort, we already got our initial coal and stone, as you can see. Now it's time to clear up a little bit of this patch here, and we're gonna utilize our first miner to get more iron. With more iron, we'll be able to build more smelters. E to open up your inventory. We got our first burner mining drill that we're gonna set up anywhere on this patch here, and we're also gonna grab one of these stone furnaces. At this point, I'm quickly gonna show you a list of the mods that I have installed for this series. It's nothing that changes the gameplay in a way that you cannot replicate it in vanilla. So if you choose to decide playing this without mods, you can still play along. Could you also do me a huge favor and like this first episode? It is really important. Also, let me know in the comments which country you're watching this from. And even better, tell me in your own language so we can test the new auto-translate feature of the comment section. One of the mods is called bottlenecks, and that actually shows me an indication whether or not the machine is functioning. Right now it is red, meaning something with the input is wrong, and in that case it is simply the coal that we're missing. So we can input some coal into this machine and also the furnace there. And as soon as we receive the iron from the miner, it's gonna get cooked up. So from the miner directly into the furnace, easy peasy. And now we just want to start to multiply this as much as possible. So what we're looking for is just enough iron plates that we can collect with Control-click, just like that, empty the entire furnace, and we have more materials to build more burner mining drills. We're gonna be handcrafting that in the beginning. Maybe let's pop it down here into our action slots, and right there we built another one. And of course we also want a bunch of stone furnaces. Since we collected all that stone, this is not really an issue. So really, iron in the beginning is the most important part unless you don't have any coal, because without coal you cannot run these machines. You can also press Ctrl right click in order to only add half a stack of what you're currently carrying. And now we just have to wait for more materials. Now that we have 2 smelters already, maybe it's a good idea to use the next 2 burner drills in order to accumulate coal. It's already getting nighttime, but right over here we have our coal patch, so I'm just gonna be using 2 of these burner mining drills in order to feed each other. So if we give them a little bit of initial coal, they will be running and giving each other more coal to run. It's almost a paradox, except that it isn't, but I can now Control-click in order to get all the coal out of there and always resupply myself. And with that out of the way, collect more iron, build more mining drills, and we're gonna do this until we feel like we have enough initially. But you can barely have enough, you need so many materials. In this game, it's almost unbelievable. Let's fill this with half of what I have, so it can already get going, and then we just keep on collecting materials. Copper initially isn't that important, at least until we start to introduce electricity. So what I'm gonna do with the copper is just settle for 1 drill and also 1 furnace attached to that. We need to collect some coal from over here and give this to the machinery. So now we also cook up copper, and this can just do its thing in the background until we need it. Now we just keep collecting these materials in certain intervals. iron, copper and coal, and with those resources we can build a bunch more of these burner mining drills. We don't want to exaggerate though, because we're soon gonna switch to electric mining drills. I also want a wooden chest right now in order to start collecting stone. So 2 of these drills, including a storage chest right there, and we can use some coal from our drills over there. So we just split this amongst these 2 drills. And now preferably I also would like to expand my coal setup, so we're gonna double the mining production of that as well. By now it's probably time to hit the Alt button in order to visually show what all the machines are doing. I think it would be nice to have about 8 iron drills, so we're just gonna keep on building here a little bit. And I'm also going to build an additional copper drill and furnace right there. We're now in desperate need of more coal, and then just keep on filling up the machines, get those materials going. Lovely. With this initial production out of the way, I think it's time to switch to electricity. For that we need plenty of iron plates and a body of water. Now unfortunately we do have lots and lots of trees hanging around here. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult to set things up, but at the same time it is going to absorb a whole lot of pollution. What we want to get started with is an offshore pump, about 2 boilers and 4 steam engines. Maybe some piping cannot hurt. I'm gonna craft about 10 of these pipes. We're gonna get started with the offshore pump right here. The boiler I'm gonna rotate with R into the direction I want it. The main output slot needs to face the steam engines, so we're just gonna chain the boilers this way. And if some trees are in the way, which in this case there aren't, they are to the right and left of the boiler. But our second boiler right here we couldn't place unless I hit the shift key and only place a blueprint of it. This is going to indicate with an X that there is only 1 tree in the way. So as soon as we got that removed, we should be able to place the boiler without issues. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna free up a little bit more space so we can actually see what's going on. But you know, if you're in a hurry, you have to remove surprisingly few trees to fit machinery. This is gonna become especially useful once we build the belts. And now every time a little bit of time has passed, we should collect the coal and input it into the machines that require it. And of course, keep collecting those precious materials. Look at that. It's already looking pretty good. Maybe in the background we can craft already a bunch of the belts. If you want to craft 5 at a time, just hit the right mouse button. Now let's build the steam turbines. If you hit the Q button while hovering over something, you're gonna pick it out of your inventory ready for placement. We can hook up 2 steam turbines directly and chain them to one of the boilers. And we're going to do the same thing here on the other side. Then something else we're going to require is a bunch of small electric power poles. And then right here we need to connect this with a pipe so the water actually goes into the boilers. And the only thing that's missing now is a bunch of coal. With the electric poles, I want to make sure that both of the steam turbines on either side are covered. And then we're just going to bring this up a little bit. If you keep the mouse button pressed, it's going to place them perfectly or wherever there is some space. So all I want is to bring this all the way over to where I have my iron and copper fields. This doesn't need to be beautiful or perfect, all it needs to do is reach everything. Now that we actually have a bunch of belts, I'm just gonna lead that over. Shift placing them through the forest is gonna indicate exactly which trees I have to get rid of, and it's not many, as you can see. And what we want to do is reach the boilers right here. Up to this point, leave 1 space free for an inserter. So we're just gonna drag this up, squeak through the trees, and I'm gonna make sure I'm hammering away all the trees with an X. And just like that, I should now be able to place this perfectly. This should go all the way down here. And right here, we're going to be using 2 burner inserters. There's also inserters running on electricity, but the burner inserters will be able to feed themselves using the coal we provide on the conveyor belt. So we just hook these up like so. And what we have to do is drag some power over here. Maybe already set up our 2 first electric drills just for the coal. And then this is going to be sufficient for quite a bit. As of this point, I'm not going to need the burner drills anymore. We are going to switch to electricity full time. So this is going to be our first 2 drills. I want to make sure we have a power pole reaching both of these. And then as soon as I drop some coal into these boilers, the drills are going to be running. And they're going to be outputting coal at a much higher rate than these guys. And now we can see the coal is incoming. The burner inserter is first feeding itself with about 2 coal, and then it gets the boiler going. If we now click a power pole or anything like that, we can see our current power demand is 180 kilowatts, while our potential is 3.6 megawatts. With that out of the way, it's probably time to switch everything to electric drills so we can cut down on the amount of coal we use. So I want to make sure I exchange all of these, and then we only have to feed the furnaces manually with coal, which is not going to be used up very quickly. The bottleneck also indicates if something is wrong with the output, shown in yellow here. This simply means the production is halted because they are full and I need to empty them with control click. And this control click thing is just one of the most satisfying parts in Factorio. Now these drills are going to be using up a little bit more space, so we'll have to rearrange it. And then we only have to feed the furnaces here, and we have to make sure, of course, that all the drills are powered, but we will not have to fill it up manually anymore. Some power for you guys, and you also deserve some coal. Said and done, the iron drills are replaced. I'm going to do the same thing with the copper drills. The only drills I'm going to be leaving in are the coal ones because they feed themselves. Now maybe let's get them going a little bit further upstairs here. Even with all of the drills, we still use barely a third of our energy. However, something else we introduced with this is pollution, as you can see right here. This pollution is going to spread. It is going to be absorbed by the trees, which is why it is spreading more towards the north there. But as soon as these spider nests here are getting compromised by the smog, we're basically in for a treat. However, now that we have electricity available to us, we can dive into the next step, which is automation. One of the worst things you could do in the beginning is to just keep handcrafting everything. What we now want is a laboratory, and after building the laboratory, we should also create about 20 of these automated science packs. These are going to be the only ones that we handcraft, since we do not want to wait around for that, and we're going to start to automate the production of everything that we need in large quantities as soon as possible. We can also hit T in order to research something, and the first thing I want is automation. Obviously, we want this machine right here. So we're going to start that research. I'm going to plop down my lab wherever I have the space for it, and it's nearby a power pole, and we input those red science packs. Of course, still keep collecting all the materials. We now need plenty of them very soon. And while I'm waiting for this initial research, I'm gonna keep on crafting a bunch of transporter belts, but also inserters are gonna be very important. So I'm just gonna craft a bunch of those, but I'm only crafting those with the intention to make our initial setup and automatically craft stuff that we need for the next step. Automation is already finished. We can get into the next research. Let me think. Probably logistics would be quite useful, but I only have another 10 science packs left, so I'm gonna go with the lights, which I would never do on my own, but this is a YouTube series, so I'm gonna need lights during the night. Either way, we now have access to the long-handed inserter as well as the assembling machine. Let's craft a bunch of those as well, at least 4 to get ourselves started. And also a couple of wooden chests will not hurt. Let's set up a wooden chest right here, and I'm gonna fill this up with iron plates. This is what we initially need for a lot of the recipes, and all around it I'm just gonna set up 4 assemblers and 4 inserters to feed them with iron plates. We're gonna need a whole bunch of belts, that's for sure. We can do that with iron plates and iron gear wheels. On the other side, I will also need lots and lots of inserters. We're only gonna go for the yellow ones for now. And then I probably want to use the other 2 assemblers for the iron gear wheels, which are required in both recipes. So we can shift right click in order to copy and left click in order to paste whatever you have set in one machine. This works in many scenarios, not only the assemblers. Either way, let's make sure we get some power in the joint, and we can already see everything is starting to craft. We can then use some inserters to bring the iron gear wheels outside and back into the machine like this. And we can do the same thing here on the other side to feed them with the iron gear wheels. We're still gonna need the electronic circuits, but that is not bad for now. Now there's only one thing left to do, and that is to extract the materials inside of a storage bin, and maybe we limit this storage bin so we don't craft thousands and thousands, but we are gonna need plenty of belts, so that's fine. The next research I'm gonna go for is logistics. However, we now need to set this up first, so to automatically feed my labs. However, we now have also access to a bunch of lights, so let there be light. In order to get electronic circuits, what do we need? Some iron plates and copper cables. So we could set up 2 more assemblers here, maybe another storage bin there. The first assembler is going to be responsible to craft the copper cable, and then right here we'll be adding the electronic circuits themselves. I will have to fill up these two chests, one with iron and the other one with copper. We're then gonna feed this over to the machine, feed this over right there and there. We'll have to upgrade the inserters very soon, but one step at a time. And really, this initial setup doesn't need to be beautiful. We're gonna be taking this apart as soon as possible when we replace it with something better. But now we also have access to electronic circuits. Let's do one more thing, automatic research. We just need the plates and the copper for that. So I think I'm just going to be moving those guys a little bit over, like so. This way I have the space for an additional machine that we can use to craft those science packs. And just one is going to be enough. Initially, we want to grab that lab, feed it directly, and then we just have to power things up. Maybe craft another assembling machine, need materials. And you know, every time I build something like that, it comes out differently. It really doesn't matter. Just get those materials going and get those science packs going. Oh, wait a second. I need iron gear wheels. What am I thinking? So I think what we're going to do is just use the belt here in order to get the gears in. And then we can replace this with a long-handed inserter. This guy here should be capable of picking those up and then adding the last ingredient. Good. That means I need 2 iron chests stocked up. Right there, and one with copper. And that's all I have to be concerned with. I'm also gonna collect the inserters right here in this chest, and about 2 stacks should be doing the trick perfectly. So we took care of essentially 3 things here: crafting belts, crafting inserters, and also doing some automatic research already, even if it is a little bit slow, but it can just continue in the background while we set up our first serious smelting contraption. At this point we can think about what else we require, such as the small fire poles, just everything that I use a lot of I want to have crafted automatically. Same thing with the stone furnace. Yeah, I think it would be handy to have the fire poles and the furnaces ready when we require them. So I'm gonna feed those copper cables over there, and we're gonna add a storage bin with a whole bunch of wood that we can feed. And last but not least, extract the fire poles right here. Also 2 stacks should do, and I can just grab them when I'm running low. While we're at it, I think what might be useful is a bunch of pipes just requiring iron plates. So I'm gonna hook that up to the storage chest we already have here. And I want to see about 5 stacks ready for me. And I think on the opposite here, I'm gonna add my furnaces. This only requires a little bit of stone that we can also input here. Extract that out towards the other side. Here, maybe 1 stack might be enough. We finished the logistics research right there. Now let's go into electronics, but after that we probably need to take care of some defense as well. Looking at the power production one more time, we are definitely still in the clear. And with that initial setup, we're definitely ready to ramp things up in the next episode. With that out of the way, thank you so much for watching and supporting this first episode. I truly appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to this journey to hopefully my most advanced MegaBase yet. Have a great time and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.